All right, welcome everybody. We're back, restreaming Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're on our Zoom platform. So welcome everybody. This is a fun topic. We're going to be talking about webinars, and it's about webinars on a webinar. And it's Lance Luke here, Martin Pea. We're national marketing experts talking to you about what to do and how to give webinars to help your business. So the topic is webinars, have fun sharing awareness of the unknowns. Well, even if you know things, maybe it's a good refresher. Um, it's all about promotion, branding, and getting yourself out there. If you're a small business owner, if you don't, if people don't know about you, it's kind of hard to do business, right? If you live in a cave, you're in a witness protection program, it's hard to conduct business, even if you're selling something or you provide a service. You want people to know about you, and that's what promotion, branding, and getting the word out is all about. And some of the ways that we get the word out is through our webinars. And between Martin and I, we give two separate series of webinars. One, it's Ask Building Expert. We talk about construction, uh, real estate, buildings, that kind of thing. And then we have today's one, which is part of Ask Marketing Experts, and we're talking about business marketing, social media, AI, use of AI, and different things like that. But before I get started, this is today is National Tropical Fruit Day. So I already had my papaya. I don't know, Martha, did you have any tropical fruit today? I can't hear you. I think you're on mute.
Myself. Yep, I had not today, but yesterday. Had my tropical pineapple.
Oh, okay. You know, when I worked at the cannery, I used to get sick of pineapple. I didn't eat pineapple for years, and then now, everywhere I go, travel around the world, I look for pineapple, which is
Oh
kind of
yeah.
strange.
Yeah. Got to get your healthy bromelain, I think, on out of there.
Yeah, fresh fruits are always good, especially during the summer. The other national day is Get to Know Your Customer Day. So if you're a small business owner, entrepreneur, reach out to some of your customers, say hi, maybe, follow up like, hey, you came to get a massage, just want to see how it went for you and this kind of thing. Or I noticed that you came into our store and you bought XYZ product. Are you enjoying the product? Or of course, if it's you own a restaurant and they ate the food, you want to know if they enjoyed it, that kind of thing. So uh, let's get right to it. Interesting. This is a webinar talking about webinars, but if you're on this webinar, on this whatever social media platform, this is broadcasting through a Zoom platform. The webinar is presented by Expert Media Matters, which is a company, a digital marketing company. We help general business consultation and social media marketing. If you're a company and you need to get the word out, we help you do that through different methods such as social media posting, blog articles, tweaking your website, using AI, that kind of thing. So that's probably the only commercial I'm going to give. Um, Sharing this with you, this top photo is myself and the author of Chicken Soup for the Soul, Jack Canfield. And I'm putting in a plug because we worked on a book together that's coming out next month, 1st of August, called Mindset Matters. And I'm hoping that it's going to be the #1 well, maybe not number one, but bestseller on Amazon. I have two books already out that were bestsellers, so hopefully this will be the third one. And then maybe I can retire after that. So I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so why don't we do this kind of webinars and get the word out to people? Well, we're doing it to help small business owners and entrepreneurs build, manage, and market online. Part of the Ask the Expert series. Today's topic, once again, is webinars. Have fun sharing awareness of the unknowns. So let's get right into it. The joy of sharing awareness through webinars. Now, how did we get to this point of even webinars? Well, pre-pandemic, I was basically going around the country giving seminars, okay, actual live presentations, and it was fun being on different stages and being in different parts of the country. Uh, I would take a few days sightseeing wherever I was, and then I got to know the different cities that I was in, and which ones I would like to go to again, and which ones I didn't want to go to. Okay, so I could pick and choose. But then the pandemic hit, and all my speaking engagements around the country were canceled for 2 years. So I'm thinking, well, how do I get the word out? So I was talking to Martin, and we decided, hey, why don't we just do it online? So instead of traveling, catching an airplane, waiting hours at the airport, we decided instead of me going to them, right? Why don't we have them come to us? So we're going to set up a series of webinars, which is the exact presentation I would give in a live seminar, right? But we're doing it online. So we started doing that, and we're having fun because we get to see how many people are registering, how many people are attending, and then the excitement came after we give the webinar to have people watch the replay on social media platforms, right? Such as Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. So if I give a live seminar to a group, say, of 200 people, and the last one I did was talking about working with a contractor, the room could fit only 200 people. Okay. So if we give that seminar live, we get an audience of 200. When we go online, okay, we get an audience of 200 people Facebook, 200 people on LinkedIn, 200 people on YouTube, and the number of viewers just multiplies just because we're adding more and more platforms, right? So the day we actually do it, we have a number of viewers, and then the next day and the next day it multiplies because people are watching the replay. So that's part of the fun. And when I call up Martin and said, hey, our last webinar, we got, all these hundreds of viewers, and it's kind of fun because the numbers go up, and it's also fun because we're hopefully giving and sharing information that people can use, and it's all about helping one another. And the other factor that we enjoy is when we're sharing the information through our webinars, we're helping or trying to help people get better in their business by using the information that we're sharing. Now, even if you don't use every single tidbit of information that we present, if you use like one or two ideas and it helps you, we're happy because we want all the business owners to succeed. And when the pandemic hit, small businesses got crushed. Everybody had to close. No one was going to the retail stores. Restaurants are closed. And so we decided we're gonna do these webinars to help people get back on their feet again. And the story I tell is you have a restaurant owner, and they never knew who their customers were. They knew their customers, right? Face by face, going in, hey, yeah, how you doing? Thanks for coming in. You know, you come a lot. But then when the pandemic hit, how do we reach out to these same people? Who are they? They had no list. So they couldn't email people saying, you know, although the pandemic, our sit down restaurants closed, but we're still open for takeout. That never happened because they didn't have a list to market and the place closed. Okay, so we don't want to ever get to that situation. So we we want everyone to be like the Boy Scouts, right? The motto, be prepared. So key concepts and tools for sharing unknowns, and it also applies even if you know this information, it's like attending a refresher class, right? And we use different platforms for our webinars. Interactive platforms such as Zoom or Google Meet, and there's a whole bunch out there. You don't have to use Zoom. You could use other platforms, but the platform is you're gonna use your computer and it hooks you up to broadcast your presentation. Okay, so it's a little upgrade from just going on Facebook, clicking live, and now you're talking, and everyone on Facebook that's around and wants to listen to you or see you, uh, is on that platform, right? So the Zoom is a little upgraded because with Zoom, you have a feature where you can capture people who register and you know who they are because you capture their email and you can follow up with them after. With Facebook, you go live, you can't do that. You don't know who's on Facebook listening, except if you go on Facebook and you see their names or they like it or they make a comment. Okay, so that's the difference. And you don't have to use the platforms we use, but if you're thinking about doing webinars, pick some top ones that are well known and have good reviews so you don't have problems. Okay. And then you don't need a PowerPoint. You can just go on and start talking. And there's a bunch of webinars that people go on and they just start talking story and explaining stuff. And it's almost like watching someone give a talk, or let's say you have interaction classes, right? High school or college, and your instructor, your teacher is not using a PowerPoint. Okay, so we try to use PowerPoints because we feel that people might want to take notes, right? They might want a copy of the PowerPoint after for review, and the visuals are there, colors, the words, the size of the words and all that, I feel are better than you guys just looking at us talking. Okay, so you want to put together a PowerPoint if you choose to do so and go that route. And depending upon your subject matter, you don't have to make a PowerPoint with 50 or 100 slides. I've been to live seminars where there were 200 people, and it was a 1 hour seminar, and the instructor had 150 slides, and some of them, and I was sitting in the back of the room, and some of them you couldn't even read because the font size was way too small. It's almost like he put paragraphs up there and had slide after slide of all text, no color, and like, what's the use? If I can't even read it, I'm just going to get bored and turn off, right? And after a while, I'm not even listening to what the guy says. So if you're and we purposely try to make our PowerPoints look exciting, and we don't put too much data on it. So if you're watching or viewing the PowerPoint from your phone or a mobile device, you can still see it. A lot of times it looks great on a desktop if you have a big screen, but when you try to look at it on your phone, it's like, what is this? I can't even read it. So be cognizant of that. Make it very simple. You don't have to get everything in one slide. Break it down into 2 slides, or do you really need to actually have all those words, right? Can you make it more simple so that it's easier to digest? Okay, so um, there's other PowerPoint software programs you can use. You don't have to use PowerPoint. You don't have to use Google Slides. There's some other ones. I forget the names right now, but they're touting that, they're way better than PowerPoint and all that. And there's even some that you just type in some information and they're using AI to generate your whole PowerPoint. They just create the whole PowerPoint for you. So that's an option. Okay, so another idea is when you're doing a webinar, you want to have a Q&A. You want to have question and answer. Why? Because when you're providing information, you're not sure whether the audience actually understands what you're saying, right? They might have questions. They might have questions based on what you said, clarification. They might have questions based on stuff that you didn't say that maybe you should have covered, or even they may have a question that doesn't even relate to the subject matter. And if you want to tackle that, that's fine. The way I do it is when I give my webinars, I open it up. If people want to go outside the subject title, that's fine too. Like, for instance, I'm talking about construction, right? And somebody asks about a real estate question. Hey, I'll tackle that. Or if I have time, if I don't have time, say, hey, email me later. I'll, respond to you. Or that's a little outside. Or you know what? I don't really know the answer. So instead of making up an answer, I say, well, let me do some research and get back to you. But when you tell that person that, you better follow up because they can send an email to you later and said, hey, you promised you would follow up. I never heard back from you. And then you don't look so good, right? The other thing is anonymous participation, open dialogue. When we give our webinars and when I give my seminars, to me, it's an open forum. It's not me lecturing or just talking to you and you can't respond back. So if it was that way, I'm just talking, it becomes like how it used to be when I went to grade school and high school. You're sitting at your desk and the teacher's just talking and you're supposed to be taking notes, right? Now it could be like that, but the way I like is the more questions, the better. And that's why if I give a 1 hour seminar, I only want to talk for 30 minutes because the other 30 I want to leave for Q&A because people ask good questions. And believe it or not, somebody that may ask a question, there may be 5 or 10 other people in the audience that have the exact same question, but they don't want to ask it. Okay, so they're happy when somebody actually asks a question. The other thing is in a live seminar, you can actually see who's asking the question. On a webinar or social media broadcast, you don't know who the person is, right? They can just use on our Zoom platform. If you want to ask questions, you can use the Q&A or the chat feature. We don't know who these people are, so you can be anonymous. The same thing with Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube. You can go on and ask a question or you can leave a comment. And we welcome comments too, even if you don't have any questions. So the comment would be, hey, I really enjoyed your webinar. I learned a lot. Or I thought it was boring. Can you like do better next time? And say, okay, well, we like those comments too. Or you were so confusing. I couldn't even understand anything you said after, oh, welcome to my webinar. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, I think we gotta, huddle and do better next time. And we welcome constructive criticisms because that's how we're going to get better and better. When I first started giving these webinars, I wouldn't say shell shocked, but I told Martin, I said, I'm not used to this, Martin. I'm not used to like talking to myself. I'm talking to a camera, right? I'm used to going in, seeing the audience, right? Excitement, it's live, going on stage. I have the microphone, everybody's looking at me, and I can see them. I can see the person in the back, falling asleep. Well, maybe they didn't have enough sleep the night before. I think positive. It's not like I'm so boring they're falling asleep kind of thing. But it's good to see people listening and paying attention, right? It's always fun. And I don't mind going in front of people on stage, and if I goof up or whatever, I'll take it. So that's just part of it. So real world examples of successful awareness campaigns giving talks, right? A webinar is basically just a talk. And if you're thinking, well, I don't want to go in front of all these people, well, why don't you treat it like this, okay? I'm in my living room of my house, and I invited you as a guest. So you're coming in, you're sitting across from me, and we're just talking story. That's how the approach should be. But then it's in reality, I'm giving a talk instead of one person in my living room. Now there's 2,000 people in my living room. Wow, this living room is huge. It's a huge auditorium, right? But that's the way I treat it. So you don't have to get nervous about things. So let me give you some examples. When the pandemic hit, the webinars was the only way to convey messages besides like television and radio, right? So um, there's this webinar to address the COVID-19 infection prevention and control in the workplace. And this was in 2020. The reason I'm bringing this up is because these were, of course, there were webinars way before the pandemic, but it wasn't that popular. It was more podcasts kind of things, right? So this was actually the kickoff to more people doing webinars and getting the word out. And a lot of people tuned in. Thousands of people tuned in because everybody was like in a quandary. Oh, what is this COVID? I never heard of this, but I'm hearing people dying from it. So I don't want to die. So I'm interested in what I have to do for prevention. And people are like, I'm not going out of my house. I'm so scared. I'm not even going out of my house, right? I don't want to get whatever it is. People didn't even know what it was, right? So this is one of the topics that helped kick off the whole webinar thing. Another one is UNICEF webinar. There was a policy guidance on AI for children, hosted by the Office of Global Insight and Policy, and this was back in 2020. Okay, so the AI is fairly new, right, to the general public, but it's been around for years and years and years, and the government's been aware of AI, and there's good and bad. So this is one of the first uses of webinars to get the word out, right? So when the government starts using webinars, then it gotta be popular, right? So governments using webinars, universities using webinars for education, uh, politicians are using webinars. It's the thing to do. Now, another example is this is my own webinar that I gave, Martin and I gave in a couple of years ago, hazardous building materials, be aware. And this was part of our Ask the Building Expert series. And I talked for 1 hour, or it was a 1 hour webinar about hazardous building materials in a building or in your own house. And uh, it was popular because not many people knew the effects, I mean, they heard of, hey, you heard of asbestos, you heard of lead paint. Yeah, we heard of that. But a lot of people didn't know the nitty-gritty, how the whole thing started and how hazardous is it. It's pretty bad and things like that. So that was another educational webinar that was done. And all our webinars are educational. So if we put together a webinar that's not educational and you don't learn anything, we just wasted our time, right? But if we get one or two people that we help save their health because they got some information from our webinar, right, on this hazardous building material, then we're very happy. Because believe it or not, you don't just log on and start talking. It takes probably at least 40 hours of preparation when we put together one single 1 hour webinar. Okay. And you might go 40 hours. Wow, that's kind of crazy. Well, we have to do an outline of what we're going to say. We review the outline, then if we figure, okay, uh, it looks pretty good, then we take that outline as a skeleton, and we start creating the PowerPoint from that outline. Okay, and that's what we do. And once and then we go through maybe 5 or 6 iterations of the PowerPoint, and then I used to write up my whole script and revise it. Some of them I revised 20 times. Okay. And it's basically 40 minutes of information. And then after that, I used to rehearse for hours. I used to look at the fine points and and talk, right? And that's what I do when I give my live seminars, because you can't just go cold. You got to know your stuff, and you got to be prepared for questions that come up. And to me it's fun, and it keeps me on my toes, especially the Q&A, because I don't know what questions people are asking. Sometimes they really ask hard questions, and I got to really think. Okay, so how to implement fun and engaging webinars. Here's some practical steps and tips, right? You want to put interactive features. Um, I I've seen PowerPoints that had all these bells and whistles. The colors change. The thing turns black and then white and then colorful. There's different moving parts. There's all this stuff, and then when you look at it, it's like, gee, I feel like I'm in a Las Vegas casino. Well, I don't really like that. I mean, it's too much, right? So try to use some of it, and then you want to use engaging visuals. You want to have colorful images and scenes from different places. I know this type of webinar is a little different, but when I give my building and construction, I use actually photos that I've taken in the field in construction, me hanging off a building, looking at spalling repair, or I'm in a trench, they're digging to go waterproof some below grade retaining wall. I mean, those are key pictures because people don't really see those all the time. So you put together engaging visuals, images. If you want to use short video clips, that's fine too. And then dynamic speakers. Well, if you don't have a good speaker, that makes for a boring webinar. But and it doesn't have to be you speaking. You could invite special guests to be on your webinar, but make sure they're not boring too. Make sure they're good speakers. And you don't have to feature them for 30 minutes. You can have them on for 10 minutes, right? And do a Q&A session, or you have a panel discussion, okay? So a lot of people would be willing, if you ask them, to speak at your webinar. I got people that asked me to speak uh, on their webinars, or they're giving some kind of podcast that they want me to be on. I say, yeah, if I can make it, I'll be happy to to be on. Just let me know what the, topics are what you want me to say. Okay, so some more practical steps, right? Q&A, I mentioned that. That's your opportunity to shine, hopefully, if you know the information. Also, surprise elements. Surprise elements would be, oh, you know what? All the people that are on this webinar now, I'm gonna give away whatever the prize is, right? And that's like, oh, and people like guessing games. They like to win stuff. Between Martin and I, we've given away like thousands of dollars worth of gift cards, prizes, and all that. Every once in a while, we do that just to spice things up, just so that people get excited. And sometimes we tell them, attend our webinar, we're going to be giving away a prize. Okay. Sometimes we don't even say anything, and at the end of the webinar, saying, okay, we're excited to offer this special gift to. We're going to have a raffle. All the people who attended, we're documenting your names, and we're going to have a drawing, and you're going to win something. Okay. People like games. They like to win stuff, especially because it's free, right? And then post webinar engagement after the webinar. Okay, you want to, hopefully you have a list, and you want to email the people. Thank you for attending our webinar. Hope you learned something. If you have any questions about any of the content, please feel free to call or email. Okay, those are the people that attended. The people that did not attend, you don't email them and say, hey, what's the matter with you? You never attend, I don't like you, or whatever. So instead of that, you go, I'm sorry your schedule wasn't such that you were able to attend our webinar, but here's what you missed. So you give them a link to the replay so they can watch it if they want. And then at the same email, you remind them, reminder, I'm giving a webinar next month about this topic. Hope you can make it then, right? And then what we have is we have a jam-packed website. And in our website, and it's specific to this webinar series, okay? It's askmarketingexperts.now.site, and I'll give that to you a little later. You go to the website, it has all our webinars on demand, so you can click on and watch it anytime you want. You don't need a Netflix account or any account. You can, but I would suggest that you might, want to make a snack for yourself, maybe popcorn or something like that, if you're planning to watch 1 or 2 webinars. Each webinar is about an hour long, and we try to make it fun. So in addition to our website, what's on the website, we have on-demand webinars, we have PowerPoints that you can get, we have takeaways, we have books that you can buy, but I'll tell you how to get it for free. And then we have a blog. So I'll tell you more about that later, but this is a way to still engage with your audience, okay? And you may not even know who they are if you're not, keeping the data. So here's our EMM Lucky 7 tips. And somebody asked, what is EMM? That stands for Expert Media Matters. So tips for webinars and sharing awareness. Embrace interactive platforms. You're going to find Zoom, or there's others that are Zoom related. Leverage visual aids. You want to maybe make a PowerPoint and have some nice graphics and images. Encourage anonymous participation. Okay, well, usually if people register on Zoom, if you're using Zoom platform or other platforms where people register, they have to put their name. So they're not anonymous, but maybe you haven't met them in person. Okay, so encourage participation, period. And I always say, You know, when we go to the Q&A time, that's your time. Ask anything, right? In fact, I'm giving a webinar in the future, and it's called AMA, Ask Me Anything. And the topics I give are construction, buildings, real estate, condo, and I'm open. So it's the time where people know that there's an expert and they can ask them whatever questions they want for free, right? So highlight real world examples. You saw, me do that. Utilize dynamic speakers. If you're not a dynamic speaker, then find some or practice up. Incorporate surprise elements, and then focus on post-webinar engagement. So the key takeaway here is you want to promote your webinar. How do you promote it? Well, we promote ours through social media, right? And then when you give the webinar, after that, don't just say, hey, Martin, yeah, we did a good job, and that's it. Kudos to you. We actually go into phase 2 of our webinar promotion, which is post-webinar engagement, right? And the objective is you wanna keep in front of people all the time. Otherwise, they're gonna forget about you. And that's why we always are out there. We post to social media. We try and come up with interesting ideas for awareness so that people don't forget about us. Okay, what you miss? Well, if you're on our webinar today, you didn't miss anything. In fact, you gained some information, but we've given a lot of webinars about social media and different things in the past. Let's see. In general, we've given how to build a website, how to make social media posts, branding, how to be known in your industry. There's a whole bunch. Just go on our website and go take a look. And then what's coming up? We have a lot of AI webinars, personal assistants, and we have one on the Great Socializer. I guess we're talking about social media, personal marketing, game-changing business partner, which is AI, unique gift, which is my AI, and we'll probably talk more about that later. Here's our expertmediamatters.com website information, and our webinar website is askmarketingexperts.now.site. Okay, that's where you could get your free books. Okay, and our free books, Use AI, No Wondering Why, just got released this year, and then also another one of my books, Get Known Now. Both of them are available on Amazon for $14.95. But since we like you, you can get it free by going to our website, and we have a free download. How about that? We don't make any money when you get it free, but sometimes it's not about making money. It's about helping people. Okay, here's something free. So we're inviting you to join Best Hawaii Business Directory. You can join now for free. BestHawaiiBusinessDirectory.com. This is the biggest online business directory in Hawaii, or it's the biggest Hawaii online directory in the world. I'll go and say that. Okay, so we have over 140,000 listings. So you heard of the Yellow Pages, yeah? It's like the Yellow Pages, except this is online. You get a free listing. If you want to upgrade your listing, there's a cost, $10 a month or $20 a month, but go check it out. And then Small Business Hawaii is a networking association of business owners, and we formed it to network, share ideas, help promote businesses in Hawaii. You can join now for free. You go to smallbusinesshawaii.now.site. Now, if you register your business on our business directory, you're automatically a member of Small Business Hawaii. We haven't really kicked off. We're gonna do webinars and interviews with business owners, but we haven't started that yet. We're still in the planning stages. Okay, back to AI. Use AI to your advantage. How? Well, my book, Use AI, No Wondering Why. We talk about, as a small business owner, you're making websites. AI can help you with lead generation, social media posts, blog content, newsletters, and much more. There's a whole bunch of stuff AI can help you with. Okay, so we're at the Q&A. You got questions, we got answers. My name and Martin's name is up on the screen. The phone number's there. Our email, info@expertmediamatters.com. So a couple things before we do the Q&A. Our webinars are based on, embracing the unexpected, some entertaining, um, very good knowledge base data that you can get. You want to present an interactive learning experience. You can use webinars for a diverse range of topics. Almost any topic you can talk about. And then you bridge the gap because you have experts talking about stuff to the general public, right? So you kind of tighten up the knowledge there, and then networking and collaboration. And the other big thing is that um, we actually, as small business owners, we get business from our webinars, and people say, "Well, sounds like you know your stuff. Are you able to help me with this thing?" or whatever the situation is. So we go and meet with them, have a Zoom meeting maybe, or meet in person, and we see what their needs are. If they already have a website, we may have ideas to tweak it to make it better. If they don't have a website, we can help, build them one fairly fast. So, and enough of me talking. Let's hear from the audience members. So, Martin, we got any interesting people asking questions or what?
Oh, yes, Lance, we always get interesting people and they're always asking interesting questions. So let me share a couple of them that have come through during the course of our webinars and preparation for it. The first one I have here is somebody is curious about the post-webinar phase. What strategies do you recommend for maintaining engagement and awareness after the webinar has concluded? Are there specific follow-up actions that can help extend the impact of the awareness campaign?
Yeah. If you have a list of names of attendees, you want to follow up with them and reach out to them, asking them if they benefited from the webinar, if they have any questions, remind them if you're doing other webinars in the future, or that's the time to promote your company. Thank you for joining us in our webinar. Hopefully you uh, enjoyed it. And by the way, please stop by at our restaurant or our store, or come to our business location. We can help you. That's the time to really do your marketing. We don't do any hard sell on our webinars. We're not selling used cars, timeshares, or any of that kind of stuff. Our webinars and our approach is educational based, right? We want to give you the education. We want to share our knowledge with you such that you're like, hey, these guys know what they're talking about. I think I'm going to reach out to them because I need help. I got to know. I have a retail store at a mall. I need help. I got to know, like, how am I going to get more business? How am I going to get more customers, right? What is the social media thing all about? I'm not tech savvy. I don't know how to do this stuff. So can you guys help? Tell me how you're going to help me, and what the cost is, kind of deal. So you just keep the engagement going. And if you have your email list, build it up. Your email list is very valuable. Okay. And then at a certain point, you want to use that list and you want to do a newsletter. Your newsletter doesn't have to be 5 pages long. It could be 1 page, right? Very short. But it's either sending out a short newsletter saying, I'm still here, I have specials here, whatever, right? And that's way better than not even emailing anything out, right? So look at the difference. We have database lists of 2,000 emails up to 10,000 emails, and we're constantly sending emails out. We send so much emails. When I get an email back, stop sending me emails. I'm gonna cancel. How do I cancel? Well, every email there's an unsubscribe button, right? When we send out our news. I used to get offended before. Now I'm like, okay, sorry. I guess this person doesn't need or want our newsletter, and that's fine. It's not for everybody, so unsubscribe. So, all right. So hopefully that addressed the question.
Yes, I think that was a good response for our viewer here today. Let me share with you the next one in another part. It says in the webinars in action segment, you discussed successful awareness campaigns. How do you measure the success of a webinar in terms of raising awareness? And what key metrics should we be tracking to evaluate the impact of our efforts? It's a good question.
Well, who's asking these? Geez, I feel like I'm in college. Anyway, thank you for your questions. Um, we we don't have specific technical data that we look at. We just measure it. I mean, this is the simplest format. We just measure it by how many people are watching or viewed our webinar, our presentation. Okay, we look at the numbers. Now we can get specific and go through each person that watched to see exactly how long they watched. Did they stay on for 30 minutes? Did they stay on for 5 minutes? But uh, I don't feel that we need all that information. I rather spend my time putting together more webinars than go through and see. Other companies do. They go through all the metrics and, oh yeah, we have 565 people that attended or viewed our webinars, and out of those people, X amount of people watched the whole webinar, another X amount watched for 30 minutes. I mean, I don't think we need all that, right? We're not trying to keep tweaking it to get the numbers higher, um, as far as people staying on. If people have time and they're interested, they'll stay on for the whole thing. If not, um, as much as they can. The other thing is that when people know that it's been recorded and they can watch it later, sometimes they go, I got to do something now. I'll just pick up, where I left off. So um, we don't need to get that technical, and some people do, but we don't. We just want to know that how many people attended and if it helped people. And also, we gauge by the number of questions and comments that come back to us. The majority of the people, no comment. They watch, but they don't have anything to say. A lot of people watch, like on Facebook, but they don't click the like button. So maybe they didn't like it. I don't know. But some people click the like button just to show that they were there, at some time or other, right? So anyway, um, I think we're good with that one.
Yes, sir, I think so. And let's see, I just got one more question that's come in so far, and that is, you mentioned making webinars fun and engaging, which that's what we like to do. how can we incorporate interactive elements into our webinars to keep the audience actively involved and interested in the content?
Okay. One good thing is you tell a story, right? You tell a story, and it could be your own story or it could be somebody else's story. But people, the human nature, human beings are used to stories. They want to hear stories. They don't want to hear someone coming up and just blabbing about details. So it's almost like once upon a time or on a dark and gloomy night, you set the stage. And I like to tell stories because people like to listen to stories. And that's why I say, oh, here's a webinar that I gave before in hazardous materials, and here's what happened and all that. So you tell your own story, because no matter what, if you tell your own story, no one has the same story like you. So you just tell it, and then people are like, oh yeah, okay, well, that's nice to know, or something like that. So the more stories you tell that can help people, the better. And to me, that's what it's all about. Just using your knowledge, your information, and telling a story. It can be humorous. It doesn't have to be humorous, but it could be. Uh, if it's not humorous, hopefully it's educational. And people like to learn stuff. I mean, maybe in school they didn't like to learn stuff, but a lot of people want to learn. And if you're a small business owner, if you're not learning, then you're not advancing, you're not getting ahead. And that's why we promote AI, because AI can save your time and money, and help you learn stuff. So that's what it's all about. So, um, Martin, you have any other final words or wisdom to share?
Well, I think what you're sharing about AI is important for people to realize. It's going to change business and our lives like you can see it already around you. And just like the iPhone changed, how we do things back 20 or 25 years ago when that came along, and all these other things. I mean, AI is the next internet type of activity, and we all know how we have our own experiences, right, with what the technology and the tech devices like the PC back in the 80s and the iPhone in the 2000s, and today it's going to be AI. So you need to be at least aware, and that's like you say, that's our purpose. You need to be aware of what's happening with it and what is being used and doing, because it's going to affect you, if not directly, indirectly in a whole lot of ways, in your work, in your play, in your whatever you do. So just be open to what is happening, because it's happening.
Yep. Good words of wisdom. Okay, so on behalf of Martin and myself, we thank you for attending our webinar about webinars, and hopefully you tune in to the next webinar, or stay tuned to whatever. I know people on Facebook, they don't even keep track, and they're on Facebook and they go, oh yeah, the guy's talking again, so let's listen. So we appreciate that too. Anybody that we can help. So if you need help as a small business owner, reach out to us and we'll try to work something out. So we'll see you next time. Thank you for tuning in. Aloha, mahalo.
Aloha.